My name is Bonnie Evans, 28 software developer and dreamer stuck in a tiny home office in Xavier, Ohio, but with plans big enough to shake the tech world. When my AI app prototype predicted market trends with scary accuracy, I thought my family would finally see me. Instead, at family dinner, my mom slammed her fork down and sneered, "Your little project is a joke," before showering my sister with praise for closing yet another boring real estate deal. My sister leaned back smirking. "Even a pig wants to start a business now." Her words stung like glass. I didn't argue. I just stood, pushed my chair back, and walked out heart pounding as my phone buzzed with a notification that made my lips curl into a smile. 24 hours later, a courier showed up at our door. My mom's face went pale, my sister's jaw dropped as they read the headline of the deal I had just landed. I finally spoke, my voice calm but sharp as a knife. "Funny how fast karma works. If your family's ever crushed your dreams or laughed at your ambition, tell me in the comments and hit subscribe for more stories of revenge served ice cold." Trust me, what happened next was even wilder. I grew up in Xavier, a quiet rural town near Cincinnati, where autumn leaves blanketed the streets in gold every September. Our two-story house on Oak Street felt like a fortress of expectations, with my mother's ambitions looming over everything. Carla Evans. My mother had built her real estate business from nothing, starting with a single property flip and turning it into one of the biggest agencies in southern Ohio. She wore her success like armor, always in sharp suits, barking orders on calls that echoed through the halls. "Business is reliable, Bonnie," she'd say at our weekly dinners. "You buy low, sell high, close deals. Dreams are for people who end up broke." My father, Mark, a former engineer who'd retired early after a factory shutdown, managed the household with quiet efficiency. He'd tinker with old gadgets in the garage, but rarely challenged her. His mantra was keeping peace, even if it meant sidelining his own opinions. "Listen to your mother," he'd murmur, his voice fading into the background noise of her conference calls. It stung how his silence enabled her dismissal of anything outside her world. My passion for programming sparked at 10 during a fourth-grade class where Mrs. Ramirez brought in a simple computer kit. She showed us how to write basic code that made lights flash on a screen. While classmates giggled at the colors, I saw possibilities. What made the commands work? How could lines of text control real outcomes? I borrowed every coding book from the town library, huddling in my room with notebooks filled with loops and variables I barely grasped but felt drawn to. For my first school fair in 5th grade, I created a basic app for managing homework schedules using free software on our old desktop cardboard for a mock interface, and Dad's measuring tape for precision cuts. Other kids built paper volcanoes, but I demonstrated how the app tracked tasks with alerts. The judges, 2 teachers, and the principal stood amazed as I explained conditional statements. "How did you figure this out?" asked Mr. Jenkins, the lead judge. "Books and trial and error," I replied. I took first place, a blue ribbon pinned to my shirt. Excitement bubbled as I rushed home, but my mother skipped the ceremony for a client meeting. That night at dinner, I showed her the ribbon. She glanced up from her phone. "Nice hobby, Bonnie, but real estate puts food on the table. Focus on something practical." My father nodded along, refilling her water without a word. The dismissal hit hard, planting the first seeds of doubt but also resolve. Why couldn't code be practical? I started sneaking extra time on the computer, building small programs in secret. As years passed, the divide grew. My mother pushed me toward open houses and property listings, dragging me to her office after school. "You'll take over one day," she'd declare, ignoring my protests. "Business runs in the family." My attempts to share coding wins fell flat, another certificate dismissed as kid stuff. Her praise went to my sister, who shadowed her deals and echoed her views. It fueled my quiet determination, turning underestimation into drive. By middle school, I knew this path was mine, no matter the cost. High school shifted my focus even further from social scenes. While classmates chased football games and weekend parties, I dove into coding marathons, trading sleep for breakthroughs in algorithms that made my heart race. The rush of fixing a stubborn bug beat any teen thrill. I volunteered at a startup hub 20 miles away in Cincinnati, enduring 2 bus rides each Saturday to earn my spot. Starting with menial tasks like sorting cables and filing reports, I earned glimpses into real app development, watching teams craft tools that streamlined logistics for local shops. Ms. Harlan, the startup's lead engineer and the first woman in tech I admired, noticed my hunger during a debugging session. She caught me analyzing their code snippets on a notepad. "You're not just sweeping floors, are you?" she quipped after I spotted a logic error in their prototype. From that day, she pulled me into data collection for product tests, guiding me through metrics analysis and even letting me tweak queries. Her mentorship ignited my confidence, teaching me that code wasn't just lines, it was power to solve chaos. Family tensions escalated as years ticked by. Home visits became battlegrounds, with my mother quizzing me on future plans while pushing real estate agendas. College acceptances brought the storm. Stanford granted a full scholarship for my app portfolio, featuring a tool that forecasted crop yields for Ohio farmers. My mother scoffed, tossing the letter aside. "Wasted time on digital toys that won't secure a mortgage," she said, thrusting business school pamphlets my way. "Ohio State offers practical degrees. I can pull strings." I stood firm. Stanford is my choice. Her glare sharpened. "Figure it out alone, then." With 2 suitcases in hand, I boarded the plane to California, steeling myself for the grind. Classes demanded precision, but I excelled interning at Valley firms to hone skills in AI prototypes. Graduation arrived with summa cum laude, honors my thesis app simulating economic models, drawing praise from professors. Yet my parents showed up with stiff congratulations, my father mumbling approval while my mother scrolled through work emails. No party, no pride, just prods about returning to stable jobs. Opting for my startup path over corporate safety nets cranked up the pressure. Back in Xavier briefly, I prototyped in a makeshift setup, but my mother's calls hammered relentlessly. 90% of startups crash and burn, she'd warn. Join my team and learn to seal real deals. I ignored the barbs, channeling them into apps that could revolutionize market predictions. Her constant undermining only sharpened my edge, transforming doubts into defiance against her narrow world. After graduation, I plunged straight into my AI app development. My home office in Xavier was nothing fancy, a dingy corner room with flickering lights and a second-hand desk piled with notes and cables. The university had equipped me with basics, but now it was all on me. I focused on an app that used AI to predict market trends for small businesses, crunching data from public sources to forecast shifts in real time. Drawing from thesis insights, I layered neural networks over econometric models, aiming for accuracy that could alert users to opportunities before competitors. Most advisors brushed off my ideas as too ambitious for a solo founder. "AI for markets is decades away," one professor chuckled, echoing the old joke that it's always just over the horizon. Online critiques piled on, labeling my early demos naive. Even a local mentor group dismissed my pitches during virtual sessions. "Focus on viable MVPs," they'd say, implying my vision overreached. I absorbed the hits, using underestimation as rocket fuel, iterating alone through failed runs and code overhauls. The breakthrough hit at 2:15 a.m. on a Wednesday. I'd run simulations for 72 hours straight, napping on the floor between runs. My custom algorithm, blending machine learning with adaptive learning loops and incorporating sentiment analysis from news feeds, had yielded erratic outputs all week. This time, it stabilized the predictions, held accurate for extended periods, beating industry benchmarks by magnitudes. I double-checked the data, running validations thrice, cross-referencing with historical trends. When results confirmed, my pulse thundered. "It's real," I whispered to the empty room. The AI could forecast stock fluctuations, supply chain disruptions, even consumer behavior with unprecedented precision, adapting to volatile inputs without overfitting. Scaled up, it promised to transform finance, retail, and logistics, empowering small firms against giants. I texted Joyce Nash at 4 a.m., ignoring the hour. As my closest friend and a seasoned tech consultant I'd met through alumni networks, she understood the stakes. Bonnie, she answered sleepily. Everything okay? Better than okay, I replied, voice trembling. Come see this. She arrived 40 minutes later, hair tousled, clutching coffee. I walked her through the modifications, hybrid layers, dynamic weighting, reran the simulation under her watch. As numbers aligned perfectly on screen, she leaned back, eyes wide. This is groundbreaking, she said. It changes the game. We spent the next week refining variations, documenting every parameter and test case to ensure reproducibility, even stress testing against edge scenarios. Joyce urged meeting with early investors. Patent this fast, she insisted. Commercial value here is huge. Our session with venture scout Victor Yates opened my eyes to the potential. He reviewed the demo, grilled me on scalability, then called in partners for a deeper dive. If this scales, he said post-presentation, we're looking at applications in banking, e-commerce, defense, billions in licensing easily. The figure felt surreal against my modest setup, but data backed it. Leaving with NDA forms and prelim valuations, a rare hope flickered. For once, my family might value my work. I called my mother that night, conversations usually laced with guilt trips about visits. Mom, I've got a major update on my app, I said. It's big. Can I come for dinner Sunday? Fine, she replied coolly. Your sister's been killing it at the office. I'll make pot roast. The drive back to Xavier that weekend mixed anxiety with anticipation. Clutching demo files, I imagined bridging the years of misunderstanding. Little did I know the evening would expose betrayals deeper than dismissal. Sunday dinners at my parents' house followed a strict routine. Sharp at 6 p.m., we gathered in the formal dining room on Oak Street with my mother's fine china laid out perfectly, despite it being just family. She sat at the head, commanding the space, while my father took his usual seat to her right, ready to pass dishes before she asked. I arrived early, folder of app documents under my arm, spotting my sister's car already parked. June, 2 years older, had embraced our mother's path, earning a business degree and rising quickly in the real estate firm. Her compliance highlighted my rebellion. My mother greeted me with a quick peck. Bonnie, you look exhausted. Are you eating right? Before I responded, June emerged from the kitchen. The tech whiz graces us. She teased, her tone edging on sarcasm. We'd shared toys as kids, but her alignment with Mom had created a rift. Nice to see you too, I said lightly, determined not to let old frictions derail the night. My father appeared last, hugging me briefly. Good to have you home. We settled around the table where my mother had prepared roast beef, mashed potatoes, and green beans, arranged impeccably. The conversation kicked off with her latest triumphs, a multi-million property flip in Cincinnati. Closed the Henderson listing today, she announced, slicing her meat precisely. Biggest commission this quarter. My father nodded approvingly. Impressive as always, she beamed at June. Your sister nailed the negotiations. Sharp instincts just like me. A true genius in the making. June preened under the compliment, straightening her posture. I waited for a lull, nerves building. I have news too, I interjected, opening my folder. My AI app hit a milestone. It's predicting market trends with game-changing accuracy. Blank stares met me. What does that mean exactly? June asked. Fork paused. I explained, it analyzes data to forecast shifts, helping businesses stay ahead. Think unbreakable insights for finance and supply chains. My mother set down her glass. And this turns profit? How? Investors see billions in potential. I said, the number's still staggering. Tech giants are pouring into AI. She laughed coldly. Billions for your garage tinkering. Be serious, Bonnie. I pressed on, showing prelim data. It's legitimate. The university's transfer office is buzzing. She glanced dismissively. Schools hype everything. Your project is worthless. June chimed in, smirking. Even a pig wants to start a business these days. The jab landed hard, echoing her superiority. I excused myself to the bathroom, composing my face in the mirror. Voices drifted from the dining room as I paused in the hallway. Call Neil first thing, my mother said lowly. Quantum-like tech, we might have leverage for his firm. June replied, You think her app's worth anything? Doesn't matter if patents are filing, there's value. Position us as family investors. My blood chilled. Neil Owens. Mom's old partner ran a tech acquisition company notorious for snapping up innovations cheap, sometimes shelving them to protect markets. They planned to hijack my work. Returning, I masked shock as my mother produced a portfolio. Speaking of your app, she said smoothly, I had papers drafted. Williams Holdings, our family entity, will handle commercialization. Sign here for 70/30, split you at 30% no ops duties. June would CEO the division. The betrayal crystallized they'd schemed before I arrived. The drive home blurred with rage. Gripping the steering wheel, knuckles white, I fought back tears not from hurt, but fury. This wasn't dismissal. It was theft. My phone's hands-free connected to Joyce. They're stealing it, I burst out when she picked up. Mom had papers ready 70/30 with June as CEO, and they're talking to Neil Owens about selling. Slow down, Joyce said calmly, cutting through my panic. Who exactly? My family. Mom's plotting to hand my app to his company. The words tasted bitter. Joyce paused, processing. Neil Owens. His firm's infamous for acquiring startups on the cheap, then exploiting the tech exclusively, or burying it to shield their portfolio. Classic vulture tactics, buy low, control the market. My stomach twisted at the thought of my creation shelved. She threatened university ties if I refuse, claiming family influence. Legally weak if your work's independent, Joyce replied firmly. But delays could kill momentum with investors sniffing around. We act now. Her steady voice anchored me. Meet at my place. We'll loop in a lawyer and lock this down before they move. Minutes later, my phone buzzed a text from my father. Think about the family offer. Your mother's trying to help. The message stung his help, an echo of lifelong avoidance. I ignored it, deleting without reply. Another ping from June. Don't make this family versus you. Sign and we all win or lose together. The veiled threat accelerated my pulse. No backing down now. At Joyce's apartment, we transformed her living room into a command center, laptops, open whiteboards, scrawled with timelines. She brewed strong coffee while I recounted every detail, the dinner ambush, overheard scheme with Neil, contracts, lopsided terms favoring them. This is coordinated, she said, frowning. They knew your breakthrough leaked somehow, maybe through university chatter. We called Elena Ruiz, a sharp patent attorney Joyce trusted from prior collaborations. On speaker, Elena absorbed the recap. Troubling but common in family IP disputes, she noted. Confirm no financial ties from them. None self-funded through stipends, gigs, and savings. Solid ground. Expedite filings to establish priority. Elena outlined the plan: provisional patent for the algorithm's unique blend, ironclad NDAs with potential investors, and preemptive licensing outlines to deter interference. With value this high, we push 48 hours max. But learning Mom's Neil meeting was tomorrow, we slashed to 24, intense but doable. Our war room buzzed. I drafted technical specs detailing the AI's core neural nets fused with sentiment analysis, adaptive loops for real-time adjustments, and error correction mechanisms. Joyce crunched business projections, modeling revenue from SaaS subscriptions to enterprise customizations, highlighting billion-dollar upsides. Hours blurred with takeout, sustaining us pizza boxes, stacking as we worked. At 3 a.m., I stalled on patent language math, not translating cleanly. It's not clicking, I admitted, frustrated. Joyce pivoted. Reframe, focus on the how and what. Skip deep theory for enablement. Elena chimed in via chat, suggesting claim structures to cover variations. We revised relentlessly, bolstering defenses against vague prior art challenges. By dawn, the draft solidified. We ran a verification test, rebuilding the prototype from our descriptions alone, ironing out ambiguities. At 11:45 a.m., Elena filed electronically, the system stamping confirmation at 11:47. Priority date locked, she announced, relief evident. Even if they spill details now, you hold the edge. Exhaustion crashed over me, but triumph sparked. Joyce squeezed my shoulder. Rest a bit. The hard part's done. Yet, with another dinner summon waiting, the battle simmered on. The next evening's dinner invitation arrived via text. Despite logic screaming to stay away, I drove back to Oak Street fueled by a mix of defiance and the need to confront. My mother sounded confident on the phone earlier, insisting on discussing terms properly. The setup mirrored last night: same china, same seating, same facade of family unity. She seemed smug, portfolio ready beside her plate. My father wore a neutral expression while June watched with cautious curiosity. The air crackled with unspoken agendas. After a tense meal of leftovers, my mother leaned forward. "We've adjusted the proposal," she said, sliding new documents across. "Quantum Solutions is interested contingent on resolving family ownership. This trust distributes proceeds fairly with advisory roles for us all. Sign, and it's done." The papers outlined a structure giving her control over negotiations, me as technical advisor, and clauses for familial contributions that could tie up courts for years if contested. "Why fight when we can partner?" she added smoothly. As she pushed the pen, my phone buzzed an email from Elena with filing approved, bids incoming. Heart skipping, I scanned provisional patent granted expedited status due to innovation. Initial bid from a major tech firm at $1 billion for licensing rights. The number hit like lightning. For the first time, I saw my mother not as the unshakable force of my childhood, but as someone whose grip depended on my compliance. The power shift electrified the room. I smiled faintly. The tension spiked as I set my phone down, screen up. "What's that?" she demanded, reaching. I pulled it back. "Patent approval preliminary but solid, and the first offer." I paused for effect, letting silence build. $1 billion. Her face cycled through disbelief to shock, then quick calculation. "Impossible," she muttered. "Filings take months." "Not for breakthroughs," I countered. "The examiner prioritized it personally." June leaned in, voice shaky. "From who?" "A consortium starting high and more coming from IBM types to defense contractors." I turned to my mother. "Perfect timing, right? Just as you push this family deal." She recovered fast. "This proves my point. Proper management maximizes value. Without us, you'll get fleeced in negotiations." "I succeeded despite your doubts," I interrupted, voice steady. "You mocked every step, called it worthless. Now you want in because it's valuable. Hypocrite." My father spoke tentatively. "Your mother's just protecting you, Bonnie. Business is cutthroat, let us guide." His weak support for her stung, a pattern of enabling her dominance. "Protection or profit?" I fired back. "You threatened delays, shopped my work to Neil without consent. That's not family, it's greed." June paled further, glancing at Mom. "We were helping scale it for everyone's benefit." The hypocrisy boiled over. "Helping by stealing credit, making June CEO when she knows nothing about AI. You belittled me, now scramble for scraps." My mother hardened, eyes flashing. "We're family, you owe us for the foundation. Education, roof over your head that invests in results." "Scholarships and grit built this," I shot back. "Not your donations or connections." My father tried again. "Let's talk reasonably, find middle ground." But I cut him off. "No middle. If you interfere, further contest filings, contact investors, I'll sue for IP theft and interference. The docs prove it's mine alone." The threat hung heavy, their expressions crumbling. As they absorbed the reversal, I stood, contract in hand, sealing their defeat. The courier's arrival had flipped the script. I smirked, delivering the line. "Karma hits hard." And walking out, the weight lifted, replaced by unyielding resolve. Over the following weeks, interest in my AI app exploded. Licensing bids poured in from IBM, Microsoft, and Department of Defense affiliates, pushing valuations from $1 billion to nearly $3 billion for exclusive rights. Negotiations spanned boardrooms in San Francisco and New York, structuring deals to avoid monopolies while maximizing impact. Open APIs for researchers, tiered pricing for startups. I founded Evans AI Technologies in Cincinnati, converting a warehouse into headquarters with state-of-the-art servers, collaborative spaces, and a team of 100 specialists from diverse backgrounds. My original algorithm expanded into a suite of tools integrating with platforms for secure predictions in healthcare diagnostics, spotting anomalies in patient data, and transportation optimization, routing fleets to dodge disruptions. The fallout for my family unfolded swiftly and publicly. My mother's real estate firm suffered when news of the dispute leaked through tech blogs and local papers. Clients pulled out en masse, citing ethical concerns over her attempted IP grab from her own daughter. A major Cincinnati developer canceled a multi-million contract emails revealing discomfort with predatory family dynamics. Neil Owens distanced himself abruptly, his acquisition firm facing backlash and regulatory scrutiny for similar past tactics, derailing their expansion plans. Their planned board tie-in evaporated, leaving her to field awkward questions at industry events, her once sterling reputation tarnished. June bore the brunt at the agency. As the genius heir apparent, her role in the scheme surfaced via leaked communications, triggering an internal audit. The board, fearing litigation and bad press, demoted her initially, then terminated her amid the growing scandal. Job hunts stalled as word spread in Ohio's tight-knit real estate scene. She applied to dozens of positions but faced rejections, landing only freelance gigs far below her skill level. Social circles shunned her former friends, ghosting invitations, as they aligned with the inspirational inventor narrative in media profiles. My father reached out repeatedly, leaving voicemails and emails pleading for reconciliation. "We're family, Bonnie. Let's put this behind us and talk." His tentative efforts mirrored lifelong patterns, always enabling Mom without taking a stand. After the third attempt, I blocked his number and emails, severing all contact permanently. No more holidays, no shared updates, total and deliberate radio silence. The choice liberated me, erasing the weight of obligations to a toxic dynamic that had long stifled my potential. Healing came through unapologetic independence. I established the Evans Foundation for Women in AI, providing scholarships, incubators, and mentorship to underrepresented talents facing similar doubts. Recipients' successes: publishing breakthrough papers, securing seed funding, launching ventures, delivered fulfillment, rivaling my app's impact. Watching them thrive reinforced that support should uplift, not control. At our new campus opening ceremony, attended by industry leaders and no family, I reflected on the profound shift. No posed photos with them. Instead, a network of genuine allies who'd championed me without ulterior motives. The betrayal, once a raw wound, evolved into a defining experience that fortified my resilience. I learned that boundaries surpass blood ties. When trust fractures, loyalty must be earned through consistent actions, rather than assumed, and withholding forgiveness can be essential for personal growth. Our family bonds ended irreparably, a necessary sacrifice for authenticity over superficial unity. We became strangers, their paths diverging into obscurity while mine ascended. On the app's patent anniversary, I keynoted the International AI Conference audience packed with innovators and executives. The greatest innovation isn't in algorithms, I concluded amid standing ovation. It's claiming your worth against those who diminish it. Trust your vision. Limitations from others don't define your possibilities. The applause sealed not vengeance, but validation of self-reliance. What betrayal pushed you to independence? Share in comments. Remember, your value endures unbound.